Page 42, Plaisir D'Amour, or the joy of love, or some such thing. It's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of notes in it. We'll start with the right hand. Fingering they're showing is fine. I want to point out a few things. On page 42, third line down, in the right hand, you see that 2-1 fingering? Means play it with the second finger, and then substitute the thumb. That's what that's for. Because you played the note right before, the D, with the thumb. This puts you in position now to handle the rest of the notes coming through. Last line, I would suggest something here. We want the melody to be legato, and we want to hear the melody, and that last line, the melody is the top note. The B, A. That's the importance. That's what we got to take care of. This other note is fine, but that's just harmony. It's in the background. So in the fingering, I suggest you do in the measure right before the last line. As it's the last measure, the third line, you're like this. So you're playing the last note, fifth finger. So I suggest you play in the last line, in the first measure, you play a 1-4 like they're saying, but then immediately substitute the fifth finger here, and then in the next measure do another 1-4, substitute the fifth finger again, and then do a 1-4. So we're just doing that to connect these. If your hand's big enough, in that third measure of the last line, you could do a 1-3. Then you don't have to substitute in the second measure. But I'll leave that up to you. I don't really have anything to point out on page 43. Just play it the way it's written. There's nothing tricky in there. Hopefully you can handle all of that. For the left hand, you just have the broken chords. You know, this is in the key of G major. Please go do the G major scale, the intermediate part. And it's broken. They're just the primary chords, big deal. At the bottom of page 42, in the left hand, let's look at this carefully. I'm not going to change anything, I just want to point it out. You're here. Fourth finger, second measure. And then here, 2, it's the fourth finger on the B. Because these notes, that's the extended position for this chord, and that's the fingering for it, so make sure you use fourth finger on the B. Roadmap wise, you see a first and second ending at the bottom, and there's no repeat sign. So when you finish the first ending, you're immediately going to go to the top of page 43. They put a note in their 2-nick strain. They don't need the note. They've done that to be nice. Just know that if there's no repeat sign, then you'll skip the ending, whatever, or endings, there could be more than one, and go on to what's after them. Then when you get to the bottom of page 43, there's a D, C, Al fine. Hopefully you know how that works by now. If not, please go back to level 1 again. It's important that you know that. So then we're going to go back to the beginning, go back down to the bottom of page 42 and do the second ending. Because it's fine, yay. Okay. Pedaling wise, pedal it the way it's shown. However, I like to hear a little silence between the phrases. So when you're pedaling it, lift the pedal up soon enough so you can hear some silence in the right hand, not the left hand. It stays down, just the right hand. For instance, the last measure, the first line there on page 42, one of the last 2 measures, that's where the pedal is. You're here, and I want to lift the pedal up before I play the last note in the right hand. So I get silence in the right hand, but I'm going to keep the left hand down, because I don't want any silence in the left hand. The left hand is going to stay that way. Only the right hand, so it's this way. Like so. Same thing on the second line. Lift the pedal up right before you play that last note in the right hand. The bottom of the page, on the first ending, lift the pedal up with the hands before you go on. So we get a little silence. On page 43, second line, same thing. Lift the pedal up before you go to the next line so we get some silence. So the pedal really is pretty straightforward. Now, On the second ending at the bottom of page 42, because it's a fermata on a half note, I'm going to hold that for 4 counts, and then we'll lift the hands and the pedal all at the same time. So it's 3/4 time, so I'm going to give us 2 counts. Let's play this together slowly. The melody's in the right hand, or the top note of the right hand. Please bring that out. That's what we want to hear. All the dynamics given are the melody. So at the beginning of the melody is soft, then next measure a little louder, then louder, stay there. Basically you stay there until the last line, and then you're there to start with. Now get softer and softer. Now on page 43, medium loud. So this is a little loud, not loud, just sort of loud. And it's the top note. And then the last 2 measures, you have that swell. It gets louder and then softer. And in a swell, you have to figure out what is the climax, or what is the loudest point of the swell, and that's what you go for. Aim for that and then die away. And in this case, it's the G. First note in the last measure there. Go up to the G and then come back down. Next measure, continue to come down. Did you get that tricky thing in the second line there on page 43? Right hand, you have 1, 2. Cross over to get to 4, and then 1, 3. Yeah, Third line, you got a crescendo again. You're going to go up to the G in the last measure. That's where you're after. So you start. I suggest you come down to soft, so you got more room to grow. Then in the last 2 measures of the piece, in piano, when you hold a note out, it gets softer by itself. So in the left hand, we have this. Just listen to the right hand and how it's died away, and make the left hand do the same, but the right hand has to be, that D has to be the loudest. And then there's a polka retard, which you're going to slightly slow down. And then you go back. Piece of cake, right? Let's try this out. Now we're going to go too slow. I mean, it is a moderately slow piece, but you probably find recordings of the song, so you get an idea how the song goes. You know, it's but we're going to go a little slower than that. So put your right hand here, left hand here, foot's on the pedal. Here we go. Ready, go.